I'm Hazel Ferguson and I work for the City of Edinburgh Council. We are standing in the middle of the new Leith Fort development amongst 9 terraces of colonies. It's a modern take on the traditional Edinburgh colony that you'll find anywhere in the city. We have 94 new homes here, a mix of social rent and mid-market rent. The council have built 32 new social rent homes and Port of Leith have 62 mid-market rent. I think the most important thing about this new development is the changes to the listed wall that we were able to achieve. It has meant that we were able to link the community within the new development with the surrounding community, which is a very strong community, and for that community to be able to access this area as well. It's changed the streetscape on North Fort Street as well, and the development feels so much more spacious than it ever did before. But it's a very historical site. It was a fort and it was then used as military barracks before the council turned it into a housing development in the 1960s. There were 4 cannons sitting on the green at the front of the development, which were on site during the 60s, 70s, 80s under the old housing development, but they've been restored and now have a really sort of prime position as you enter through the gates between the gatehouses that hark back to the sort of historical days of the fort. We carried out some community consultation on the road names and street names, and as you'll see if you look around the site, we've got John Paul Jones View, Cannon Wind and Guardhouse Parade. So we had a competition in the library and the community got together and suggested names for the streets in the development. Coming back to see it completed, having started with the rehousing in 2009, it's amazing. It just feels so lovely here now.
I'm Heather McNaughton, I'm Head of Community Investment for Castle Rock Edinburgh Housing Association, and we're part of the Places for People group. And right now you're at Fortune Place, which is our housing for older people for independent living. As we age, independent living becomes increasingly important, and also to make sure that people don't become socially isolated. Part of that journey may also include dementia, and because it may also include dementia, what we've tried to do at Fortune Place is to future-proof it. So we future-proof it in a number of ways. We future-proof it because it's connected to everything, to its outside space, to each other, to neighbourliness, to the wider community. It's visually connected, but also it's very socially connected. So we created a community capacity builder role at the outset of the project to get everybody to come together very early on to help co-design some of the spaces that you'll see here, to get to know each other, to become an informal support network for one another. And out of that, we've created a really connected, special, vibrant place. Every space needs to feel like somebody's home, and everybody's taste is different. So we've created within the design the capability for people to personalise each individual space, but also we provided some support so that people could create those personalised spaces. So through a craft project, we help people design things for their front doors, for doormats, for things for their walls and stuff. And what you see here now, every little area is different. It's part of the whole, but it feels like a home.
I'm Jeanette Top, I'm the Operations Manager for Hanover, so I oversee all of our very sheltered and housing with care developments in Moray. Linkwood View is a very fluid development. It's a 32-bedroom property development where we cater for everyone's complex care needs. The service allows for people to come in and have a full Scottish secure tenancy, and we can be flexible with the level of care and the amount of care that people require. Our properties are developed and adapted especially for people that have dementia, that may use a wheelchair and that require extra care. Our property, well actually the whole building is dementia friendly. When I use that terminology, I mean that we use a lot of contrasting colours. You'll see throughout the building there's contrasting light switches, there's contrasting skirting boards and wood. We're able to put in signage. We've spent so much time because Stirling University came up and advised us of how people can live and remain independently in their home for longer by putting in specialist designs throughout the building. because of the way the garden is set up and the sensory way that it is with the different plants, the way that it's laid out, it allows for people with wheelchairs to actively use the garden. It allows people with dementia to actively use the garden because there's no trip hazards, because there's no shades or shadows. It allows people to sit outside and be part of that community. It's actually developed naturally itself. It is a true sense of the word community. It's very open plan. People are helping and supporting each other. For example, they're buying a barbecue for the summer so they can all sit outside and have a barbecue. So it is very much a community, and it's just naturally developed. It's not something that's been forced. It's not an unused space, and people enjoy the garden space.
I'm Gary Watt, the Development Manager for Big Regeneration, which is a joint venture between Scottish Canals and Places for People. We are on Whitelaw Street at Maryhill Locks, and we have seen a 40 home development that completed in 2017. The ethos of the place was to use design to continue to change the perception of the place in a positive way. We wanted to use design to demonstrate that we had the confidence that this area was going to be a successful new place in the Glasgow psyche. We wanted that design to be brave and bold. We wanted it to be daring and a little bit different, and we wanted it to be inspiring and uplifting. And if we achieved all of that, we thought that would give buyers the confidence to actually take that step and make this a place that they were proud to call home. I think we deliberately tried to make the homes as affordable as possible for buyers. You know, we were really aiming that these were homes for real people and they were going to be available at real prices and enable people to put down real roots and make it a home, you know, for not just now but for the next generation also. I think originally when we saw the model with the two-tone, the black and white houses, it does make you take a step back and take a breath and think, is that going to be too bold? Is it going to be too brave? But I think the minute we saw it coming out the ground, we thought, no, the design team have got it right. It's spot on. It's perfect for the place, and we're really proud of the development at the end.
My name's Neil Boyd. I'm from Page Park Architects. Well, the main idea really is to try and pick up on the gables of the existing Victorian formal industrial school, and to try and really highlight the importance of that building on the site, and then step back a series of new build properties that sort of duplicates this sort of gable language facing out and creating great views of the River Tay. We just wanted to try and blend the sort of tradition of the existing former school and the sort of more contemporary new build flats, and trying to get a sort of a feeling of being within a garden within the site. It was already a very leafy green sort of space, and we wanted to try and create something that felt established already within the site but was contemporary at the same time. I think the material choices are a subtle nod to the existing building with the stone, but also introducing timber and zinc and render as well, just to try and create a bit of a sharper look. And also the detailing, we've tried to keep everything quite slick, keep everything sort of hidden away, recessed gutters and drainage pipes. And the stair rails in particular, we had to introduce a second section of stair going up to the top floor, which we needed to try and duplicate the existing stair, but we wanted to create something contemporary at the same time. So we've introduced a new steel stair, but picks up the same idea of the balustrades coming out from the concrete treads, rather than planted onto the side, and that sort of carries that through. Well, the existing courtyard was one of the main features of the site, and a real sort of hidden gem within the site itself. So we wanted to really play on that, make it a really attractive place for people living there to want to spend some time, and a place where people could meet each other, have barbecues, things like that. And then we wanted to try and again create that sort of feel within the new build properties. So we created 2 blocks that sit apart from each other, and then create a new courtyard which picks up on that existing courtyard and tries to create a sense of a place that people can sort of meet in.
My name's Mark Philp. I'm from Carson Partners Architects, and we're here to look at the Powis Place student halls. This particular design is interesting in that it really references the kind of Aberdeen architecture, which is a solid granite mass that's been carved out and inhabited, and forms part of the city scale, and hopefully is a reference for developments in this area that can continue in the similar scale and impact on the street. It's a building that is unself-conscious. It is deliberately larger than the haphazard development that's previously occupied this area, and it has a scale and a density that hopefully can be used as a reference for future development. It is pushed back from the street, and at the entrance is carved out in order to make urban moves that are positive both for the city and for the development and the occupants of the building. So it's a very steep site the building occupies, and the idea was to raise up the courtyard space to the upper level of the site and tuck dark spaces, car parking, cycle storage and ancillary spaces underneath the courtyard. So you get a very bright courtyard space. So on the top of the building there's a small roof terrace that can be used by the students that looks back towards the city, and really contributes a wee bit more than just the courtyard social space and the common room, so that students have a variety of spaces that they can gather and study and do what students do.
I'm Jim Whiston, the Director of Esher Housing. We commissioned this project. Daly's an old mining village where we have a substantial stock of mostly larger family houses, so the attraction of this site was twofold. One was to provide smaller houses in the centre of the village, particularly catering for elderly or maybe disabled tenants, but also it was an opportunity to deal with a real eyesore in the middle of the village and make something nice again in the centre of what is a historic street. So the project started about 15 years ago. We first looked at the site, but a real challenge to actually acquire the site and sort of very complex legal problems. But eventually we managed to get the control of the site, and we commissioned ARPL, some local architects we've worked over the years, to come up with a project which could meet the challenges of a very tight and complex site, but had to do it in a very economical way, so we could be able to afford to develop the site within the grant constraints we have from the Scottish Government. And we're really pleased with the work of ARPL in producing a project which has met all our requirements of a reef and created very nice homes for our tenants as well. The style is just to do something which is quite contemporary, but also fits in with the historic core of Daly as well, and it's on a corner site which is very visible to people visiting the village. They're coming across from the open countryside. So we wanted something which fits into the village but also makes a wee bit of an impression to visitors at the same time. Well, the tenants have been very positive about the scheme. They've settled in well. We've been delighted with the quality of the build, which is so there's been very few defects, for example, which can be wearing for tenants moving in. I think they've been delighted with the energy efficiency of the homes as well. But there's been a very positive reception in the village. The local community council was very supportive of our planning application and has been very supportive of the end result as well. So we think it's been a great success so far.